What's poppin', people? It's Dante, currently going for a walk here along the Schuylkill River Trail here in Philadelphia. And today I'm thinking about why I thrive in the outskirts of the city. You know, why I prefer these long walks along the perimeter where there's typically not a soul in sight and I'm alone and in the unknown, and you know, just walking along the outskirts of any town. It doesn't really matter where I am in the world, whether I'm in my hometown or in a different city. I absolutely thrive on the outskirts. You know, I thrive on the outside looking inside. You know, I find that when I'm out on the sort of perimeter of town, I have a clearer connection to my mind. You know, I feel like I have less, there's just less noise, there's less distracting elements on the trail, there's less distractions when I'm in nature, when I'm by the river. You know, I can stay laser focused on one goal, and that goal being to move onwards. You know, for instance, if I, you know, went left, I get hit by a car. Of course, considering this tunnel, no one will really see me coming, and you know, I'll get hit by the car and die. If I go right, I'll go toppling into the water and eventually I'll freeze to death. However, when I'm walking on this trail, when I'm walking along the outskirts, I remind myself that there's only one option. It's the straight and narrow path onwards, forwards. And I move with purpose with my camera, creating photographs. And I thrive out here on the outskirts of town because I remind myself how open the world is, how infinite this world is, how many possibilities there are, how much there is to do, to see, to explore. You know, that's the feeling that flows through me when I walk by this river on the outskirts of town. You know, I could keep walking. I could wind up in Jersey. I could go all the way and wind up in New York. You know, you could keep walking. You can keep moving. You can keep exploring. You know, I think when you're sequestered in the middle of town, when you're in Center City, and there's all of these tall, looming skyscrapers, and, you know, all of the noise and chaos of cars and people and chatter and yelling and screaming, you maybe forget that you are free. You know, you get trapped in the maze. Left, right, zigzag. On the grid, honk your horn. Watch the red light turn to green. You know, follow the white lines. Watch and look out for all of the signs. You know, stop at the red sign. Yield at the yellow sign. Don't go there, danger. But when you're out on the skirts, when you're on your own, on the perimeter of town, feels like there's no rules. Feels like there's nothing caging me in. You know, I can look out and see the horizon. I can look up and see the sky. You know, but when you're in the center of town, not only are there too many sounds, but you can't look out. You're trapped. You're kind of just stuck on the grid. You're stuck in the maze. And the more that I contemplate this as I speak out loud, that's why I thrive on the outskirts. I feel most free. And that freedom comes from the elimination of the choice, from the elimination of whether or not I can go left or right. There's only one way. It's onwards and upwards towards the cliffside behind the Philadelphia Museum of Art. You know, that's where I'm headed now, and then I'll be back in the center of town. But yeah, just some random thoughts about why I thrive in the outskirts. I walk the outskirts pretty much all the time. This is my favorite place in the city of Philadelphia. Absolutely love this trail. In the summertime, it's a fantastic trail to go biking on. I mean, you can keep going on and on towards the Wissahickon Forest. You can go on so many different dirt paths and trails. You'll wind all the way up at Valley Forge, and you know, there's just so much to explore on this trail with the bike, walking, etc. Oh, there's a biker. Wow, biking in the snow. Yeah, and so yeah, just some random thoughts about the outskirts. I mean, even for instance, just a random story about when I was in Mexico City. I was in Mexico City for about 2 weeks, and I was there to photograph with a friend, and I was meeting up with another photographer from Philadelphia. And yeah, we were photographing in the center of town, lots of busyness, lots of markets and chaos and all sorts of stuff. But I'll never forget, my intuition told me to climb the mountains upon the outskirts of the city. You know, I looked out when I arrived in Mexico City, and I thought to myself, what's out there? You know, there's all those mountains up there. You know, we're here. What's out there? And I always gravitate towards the outskirts. I always gravitate towards the perimeter of town. And yeah, I arrived at the outskirts in Mexico City, and that was one of my most fruitful experiences from the trip. Was, you know, not necessarily following the same lane that everybody else goes down. You know, when people visit certain cities, especially to practice street photography, they often stick to a similar route, or, you know, do the same thing in a routine, or visit the places where other people have had success. But yeah, I like going to the outskirts. And when we climbed the mountains and arrived at the peak, I found some of my most beautiful moments that I cherish to this day. And yeah, I made a lot of great photographs, and I just followed my intuition. My intuition always tells me to take the path less traveled, you know, to go over there. You know, don't stay here. You know, move onwards. Go out there. You can go out there too, you know. And that's what the outskirts reminds me. It's how open the world is. And yeah, just sharing some thoughts.